March 10th, 2026. Time's flying by. I almost said 2024. I'm heading out to the cemetery to see my dad. Well, to see his headstone. To see where they laid his bones. Because he's not there. Just what was left of him. So today, the video is remembering Slick. Remembering Slick, my dad. So I'm just gonna, I have no idea what I'm gonna do, but we're just gonna remember him today. And, woo! Maybe go by some places that he frequented. Truck driver. He worked for a place called Arkansas Freightways. Right there in that building years ago. We're talking like maybe 35, 40 years ago. That's been closed a long time, that dock. I remember one time Dad's truck broke down and he had to walk home. It was a few miles. And I was real concerned because he had holes in his legs. Well, one of them. He had a bad truck accident. I can't explain what they did. They didn't think he would make it. They didn't think he'd walk again, and he did. But Dad was gone at 53. Barely 53. March 10th, 2002 was the day that he went home. How fitting. I'd hate to see the flag like that, but it represents the state of America right now. And my heart. I'm not going to go to the exact location. I guess I have a little bit of privacy, but we're close enough. National Cemetery. A lot of our veterans are buried here. Designated by Abraham Lincoln. Proud that my dad's buried in this cemetery. Now he's not in this area here. But I thought I would stop here and talk a little bit about my dad on this day. Silence for everybody that's here. Now more than ever, do I feel a connection to my dad. He's not even on the My dad was held back when he was younger. So he was 18 when he was a senior in high school. And they said that they'd let him finish school. And they didn't. Said he was of age. So they took him and they drafted him. He was on the USS Lindy McCormick in the Navy in the Vietnam War. I remember he would talk about some of the things, and he said he was traumatized over there. And for what? For what? For what? And when he got home, they were on a bus. I don't remember the details, but he said they were on a bus and they were getting off the bus. There were people there throwing eggs and just stuff at the bus, chanting, the war stuff. We need to think about what we're doing. I don't think we need to be so quick to send our people over there or anywhere, especially for someone else's war. We need to take care of our own people. I've been traveling around this country and it's in bad shape. And here we are overseas or different areas taking care of their stuff. With our people right here are dying. Anyways, ran all that over. But I just want to remember my dad today, and I just want to talk about him because remembering keeps it alive. And see, here I am in this national cemetery where my father's buried, and many people that I know are here. Gone from this earth, but they're not gone. I do not believe we are spiritual beings, and we carry on. He was a good man, my dad. 53, barely 53. Lung cancer. Ironically, he hadn't smoked in like 8 years, and he just picked up, like maybe the year before, he was doing the sneaking thing. He was smoking cigars, Swisher Sweets. And then the tumor came. His face swelled. They didn't know what it was for a few months. They were treating him for allergies. And the tumor wrapped around his neck. On but not forgotten. Remembering Slick on this day, March 10th, 2026. Love you, Dad. I'm going to show you a couple other things. Now, my dad, as a child, grew up in this town. This is Baxter Springs, Kansas. Now, up here on the right, you're going to see a big, right here after this block, where that sign is. There used to be a building there, and he worked there. I think it was like a lawnmower place or something. It's called Root, and I think they were there, but he worked there. And then up here on the left, this big building here, right there, that's the old movie theater. And they actually opened that theater up. I'm going to get on the other side so you can see the front of it. They opened it up. Well, it's not open now. Unfortunately, the owners that renovated it passed away. Now I'll go up here and turn around where you can see the front of it. So there it is, the first movie theater that my dad ever went to. He used to talk about how him and my aunt, they used to go there to the movies when they were younger. And like I said, it's closed now. They did open it back up briefly, but you could see the ticket booth. I was able to go to movies maybe 10 years ago there, where my dad went as a kid, which is really cool. It was really cool. I was very grateful for the people that reopened it. And now they use it kind of like as an event center. My dad loved Route 66. He passed that on to me. Baxter Springs is right on the route. There, isn't it cool? I just love it. Baxter Springs, Kansas on Route 66. Remembering Slick on March 10, 2026. My dad used to talk about that bank all the time. Loved that bank. I mean, not all the time, but he did mention it. Just gas station. He didn't get to see it fixed up like that. They did tear, there was one next to it. They tore that down. He would have been upset to know that. I forget when it was. Dad's been gone, let's see, for 24 years now. Just pull in front of me there. That's just all right. Now see up here in this area here, there used to be a hospital. Believe it or not, they have a house there. See this little driveway? That was like the emergency room area. I think the high school, the Baxter Springs High School, built that house. I'm not real certain on that, but I think so, like their shop department. But yeah, there was a little hospital there, and that's where Dad's first and only daughter was born. She was so amazing, they tore the hospital down. Yeah, that was where the hospital was. There's another house. That one I know was built by the high school there, but this whole area there, from that other house over there on that side all the way back here, was the hospital, and you could drive up in the back. Now there used to be a school up here. See where that wall is right there? Years ago, I'm talking like 40 years ago, it was called Washington School. And my dad went to school there when he was a kid. From what I remember, I think it was a grade school. It's more of where the hospital was. I remember there were ashtrays there. Ashtrays in the hospital. Dad's all over this town. I remember him everywhere I look. It's Dad, you know, because Dad's in me, you know. And look at this tree. This is the community center. And where this community center is, I think that used to be Route. Like this whole area. That one place I showed you earlier was like a lawnmower. It was either the same company or there were two different companies. One was a lawnmower company. I think Root was a lawnmower company. But look at that tree. Isn't that beautiful? And my dad had worked there as a young man. I don't know how long, but he did. And I always remember him talking about it. They made like metal decor, like that 70s metal decor, if you've seen it. Like there were like spoons and cats and things like that, made by that company. Boy, that tree is just beautiful. All right, let's go see some other stuff. Remembering Slick on this day, March 10th, 2026. Now just down here, of course, Jesse James, I believe it was, robbed banks around here, and Bonnie and Clyde robbed an old grocery store twice, and they tore the building down. It was down on 12th Street, but I remember my dad just talking about it all the time. I think, for some reason, I'm thinking this old On the Route place, it's a Mexican restaurant now, that was robbed. Maybe it was across the street. I have to get my details on that, but that area there, Dad used to talk about all the time. So that's what today is. It's just remembering Dad and things that he used to say. So here's the theater again. Now, there used to be grocery stores. Like that was a Piggly Wiggly. We're on Route 66 now. It's the True Value Hardware. Well, it's not True Value anymore, but it used to be. But right there where the subway is, used to be a grocery store. And I remember riding those horsey thingies outside. Dad used to like that grocery store. I remember him putting me on that horse out there. Okay, so then I'm going to show you, there's a gas station he worked. I think it was his first job, if I remember right. See, it's one reason why I make these videos. It's hard enough to remember daily life as it is, but my own personal life, and just for everybody. They tear it down and you never see it again. You never remember it. Some people have good memories, but then it dies with their memory, or the memory dies with them. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so this used to be a 7-Eleven, and we used to come here every Sunday after to get Slurpies. I gained weight very quickly. But now it's a Chinese restaurant. A very good one at that, but that was at one time a 7-Eleven. And that over there is now a pharmacy. It used to be KFC. It was the KFC / Taco Bell, and it was the slowest place ever. It would take you forever to get your food. But this is the main reason I came over here. Dad, he liked Diet Pepsi too. But he worked there. It was the old gas station. He worked there as a kid. And I don't remember the dates, but he was young, and I think it was like his first job there at that gas station. Isn't it cool looking? It used to, some guy owned it years ago, and he had a whole bunch of stuff in there. I don't know if he was like hoarding or whatever, but I just remember there was a lot of stuff in there at one time, and now they've cleared it up, and I haven't been in there in a long time. But this is Route 66. Only 14 miles in Kansas. And there's the Sonic. It's been there a long time. Dad liked that too. Supersonic cheeseburgers. And I always think of my dad passing by there. I would love to own that gas station. Somebody want to give me some money. But remember in Slick on March 10th, 2026. Love you, Dad. Also, I want to say while we're here at the 7-Eleven or the Chinese restaurant, I had a car one time, or a truck, and it was a standard, a manual transmission, and I went in to get me a tasty beverage. I come out and my truck had rolled all the way back. That was years ago. I can't believe I'm that old that I could say that now. Years ago. 7-Eleven. All right, so show you a couple things down here. All right, so this is now a Mexican restaurant, but it used to be called Simple Simon's Pizza, and they had the best pizza ever. I've ate my weight plus some in pizza from there. I mean, years and years of pizza. It was the best ever. I remember a guy named Howard owned it, but I remember we'd get pizza. They had specials. You could get like 3 large pizzas for like $19.99, but they were like, each pizza weighed like 15 pounds. I mean, they were big uns. they don't make them like that anymore. But when my dad passed away, they actually, the owner sent over, I think it's like 10 pizzas to the house. It was amazing, you know. I thought that was very touching when I heard that, because that's how much pizza the family ate. And they sent a bunch of pizza to Dad's memorial. So Simple Simon's on Route 66, and now a Mexican restaurant. So this place, it was the Video Mart. First time I ever got sunburned was at this Video Mart by a tanning bed. But before that, it was a casket place. And I don't know if they made caskets. They did something with caskets. And my dad worked there. And we're talking years ago. And now it's for sale. I didn't realize that was for sale. But this is literally on, you know, like the 1920s route. It goes around this area here. Yeah, but Dad worked there. I don't know the dates. I think it was in the 60s, 70s, something like that. Remember in Slick on March 10th, 2026. The man worked there, my dad. I love you, Dad. Now see, this is this old Route 66 here. Now that area there is like the Walmart area. I remember my dad would go on and on and on about how they kept moving the roads everywhere. Now this, of course, they're showing it here. You can see the little Route 66 out, you know, the different routes. Maybe they, not just here, but I noticed in other areas too. But right here, Route 66. But Dad said that even in this town, Baxter Springs, that they moved it majorly and that it went down another route. I'll save that another day because I need to do my video of Baxter Springs. But this is just a remembering Slick on his day, his celebration of life. I don't always do something, but some. Oh, look, the road needs some work right here. That's probably why they don't want people coming down too much. Yeah. Now there's a movie theater, or used to be, out to the left. Dad used to go to that all the time. I remember going as a kid and just, I remember going there a lot. See if we can find it over here. Historic Route 66. So much. And I think Dad and Mom lived somewhere in one of the, I don't know if it's one of these houses, somewhere in this area. Now, over here, see, there's going to be a road. I'm going to pull off over here. Okay, so you can see a little bit of the drive there. That was the drive-in movie theater. I think it was called Twilight. And that place. I remember being there when I was a child. I remember watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the back seat, and my dad hollered at my mom as she laughed hysterically when that Scarface looking dude come running out with that chainsaw. My dad couldn't understand why she was laughing. I'm not sure. My mom was like, how would you like something like that chasing you in your backyard? Dad's like, let's go, you're killing it. Killing it. Anyways, that's where the movie theater was. My dad loved that movie theater. Remember in Slick? On March 10th, 2026. Miss you, Dad. that's the shopping center that I was telling you about. Where that Tractor Supply is was a small Walmart. Sam Waltman himself was in there a few times. Alright, so there's one more place I want to show you to remember Dad. I mean, Dad's all over this place. But one more thing I'll share and then wrap it up. I just wanted to put something out there for Dad today. Every year I don't do something. I mean, I haven't done something every year, but this year I just felt it. I just like to remember him. So, I'll show you in a second. Alright, so there is the high school. Well, it's an apartment building now, and then later it was the middle school. But when my dad attended, it was the high school. So, my dad and my aunt and uncle all went to the school. I think it was built in 1918. It's a neat old school. Spent way more time in there than I'd like to. It's apartments buildings now, or apartments, I guess. But that's the old high school that my dad went to. I'm going to show you something else here. Okay, so Dad went to this high school, as I was saying. Later in middle school. Now these windows, I don't know how long these windows have been there. But years ago, when Dad was in school, I heard a story about my dad. I went to a bar and I saw one of my dad's old school buddies. And he was like, "Oh, I just loved Slick. He was, you know, he was a good son of a gun, you know, and all that." And he was telling me a story about Dad, and I don't know the details of it. I just remembered I was shocked on this detail, was that the guy used to pick on my dad. My dad was a big man. They called him a gentle giant, and they would sometimes, not very often, there'd be someone get a hair up his butt and try to give Dad a hard time, and Dad give it right back. Well, apparently, whoever this person was, and they did say the name, I don't remember him, but somebody that was in town that Dad knew, gave him a hard time, and Dad threw him out of one of the windows. Literally threw the man out of one of the windows. I don't think it was like a top story for it. I don't know, but it was. And when I asked my dad about it, he was embarrassed, and even though it had happened years before, because he did have a little bit of a temper when he was younger, especially back in the day. So somewhere, and for some reason I always think it was this side of the building. I don't know where it was. I didn't get, too much details on it, but my father, let's call him Slick, that's what they called him back in the day, threw another student out of one of these windows. And that's today, on March 10th, 2026. I'm remembering my father, my dad. I love you, Dad. I miss you so much. And I don't know what they've done with that gym, but I wonder what's in there. These are all apartments. But remembering Dad today. The Baxter Springs, the former Baxter Springs High School / middle school, Baxter Springs, Kansas, March 10th, 2026. Gone, but never forgotten. And I'm putting you on the internet, Dad, so other people can see this in the future when I'm gone. I love you. Hold those you love close. Hold them close. Remember them. Talk about them. Tell people about them, because that keeps them alive.